Yeah. Right, I'll tell you. What that's for is, where that wheel is there on the line shafting. No, it's not. Underneath that wheel there used to be a little shed. And in that shed there was a beautiful little engine named after one of Fred's daughters, Caroline. And that engine drove all the line shafting. Well, of course, to drive the line shafting, what you've got to do, you've got to put a belt from the engine to that wheel. So that means you're going to have a hole in the shed roof. Yeah. So it's going to rain in. So Fred made the dog kennels to go over the hole so it doesn't rain in. So it turns you, it's not for a very thin dog. it turns the other way around. That slot goes over the line shafting. Right? Now, when the place was empty, that engine was taken away by the executors. And when they took it away, they just dragged it to the roof of the shed and trashed the shed, basically. Bloody shame. Because Fred was quite proud of that shed. He brought it from his mum's backyard. So we had no engine. But in the early 90s, Fred acquired another engine. And he got it from this firm in Wigan called Potter's Herbals. And we had some people in the other day from Wigan, and they said, "Oh yeah, we know Potter's Herbals. They're still going." And well, if you go next time you're in a chemist, have a look at the jars of malt, and you'll see Potter's Herbals. They're still going. You know, like I say, I've got a bottle jar in the kitchen. It's lovely stuff. And they had this engine. It's a wreck. It hadn't been used for 50 odd years. And Fred kept tying it up, kept saying to him, "Oh man, that engine, you know, I could do that up. It's a shame for it to be stood there doing that. I could do that engine up, you know." So in the end, they said, "Right, you do a job on the roof for us, you can have the engine." So he did the job on the roof, got the engine, brought it back. The intention of replacing the other engine because it was more powerful. We never got round to it. We left it round the back in the open. We found it covered in rust and mud with a bloody tree growing through the flywheel. So we dragged it out, all 3.5 ton of it. I happened to have a big digger here at the time. So we dragged it out, took it in the workshop, stripped it, rebuilt it. We built that shed there with the red chimney. And it's in that shed now, ready for action. Lined up with that wheel, just waiting. So we've got the chimney, we've got the engine. All we're short of now is the boiler, literally. So I'll show you later on where the new boiler's going to go. We've done some shuttering, so we're going to put a concrete base there, and the new boiler will go there. Right, next bit is this, the platform here. This is where Fred used to keep the living van, you know, the caravan. And that caravan probably weighed about 5 ton. It was solid wood and metal, with all the creature comforts, stove, cooker, TV, bed, the lot, you know. And when we were told health and safety we were going to put some tables and chairs in here, they nearly had a heart attack. They said, "Oh, it won't take the weight, it won't take the weight." So you used to have a 5 ton bloody caravan in here. Anyway, they wouldn't have it, they got this bee in the bonnet. They said, "No, you'll have to have it checked out by a structural engineer if people are going to sit on there." So we got the same chap back that helped us with the chimney. He spent half a day here, and he said, "That's not going anywhere for a long time. Solid." Now at the time, we only had the 4 posts at the back. None of these posts or railings were here. So health and safety said, "You have to put railings right round because people might fall off it." Well, the problem we had then was, remember, we're going to get more posts like that. The Victorian, the cast iron. And one day, one of my mates, Phil, was just watching DVD of Fred, and just out the corner of his eye, split second, he noticed the base of one of them sticking out from the undergrowth over here. Really? So we dug in and we found 8 of them. There's your 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I can't tell you, they were covered in rust and barnacles. They've been there for years. So I dug them out, and I spent a fortnight on them with a grinder, cleaning them up. We put them out here like that. We found the railings there as well. Health and safety came back and said, "You'll have to put mesh in between because people might fall through them." So we put the mesh in and it finished it off nicely. You might notice actually the benches around the perimeter, those are actually Fred's scaffolding planks. No. And what I've done, I've sanded them and varnished them, and I've used some of his telegraph poles, and the brackets and the straps are some of those chairs there that were knackered. So you know, took them apart and used the parts of them, and that's recycling. Fred would have been proud of that. Yeah. Now, there's a story behind these posts actually. In the centre of Bolton, where Sainsbury's store is now, there used to be a famous, massive engineering workshop called Hick Hargreaves, and Fred loved that place. He was always in there. And when they were closing the place down, they invited him in. They said, "Would you like to come in and see if there's anything you want?" "Wait, I'll be there tomorrow." And the first thing he saw was these posts. He said, "Right, we're having them buggers." So unbolted them, brought them back, chucked them over there, and that's where we found them. But the other thing about the story about that workshop, opposite the workshop, there was a little pub called the Sweet Green Tavern, and it's still there. It's opposite Sainsbury's now. And that pub dates back to about the 1600s. And many years ago, they were putting these 150 old wooden benches out to replace them with new benches. And they found some drawings down on the benches. These drawings have been done by Robert Stevenson, the inventor of the rocket, and Mr. Hick, the owner of Hick Hargreaves. What was happening with Robert Stevenson was licensing Hick Hargreaves to make some locomotive engines for the American Railroad. And it was first being set up early 1800s. How about that? Ooh, fantastic. Ooh. So somewhere in America there's some Victorian, engines that were made in Bolton. And I'd love to really find them. Fabulous. Right, next bit is this wall behind you. When we first came, this wall was collapsed. Excuse me.